opens with a dynamic title sequence. Quick cuts of mist-shrouded forests, crumbling ruins, eerie swamps, and jagged mountains. Animated ghostly figures and ancient symbols flicker across the screen. The series title, Echoes of the Unseen, materializes from the mist. We're seen. A dimly lit study filled with old books, leather-bound tomes, and rolled-up maps. Dust motes dance in the single beam of light from a desk lamp. Our host, a seasoned local folklore expert, leans forward, his eyes fixed on the camera. My name is Alistair Finch. For decades, I've walked the forgotten paths of our world, not as a historian, but as a listener. I've collected whispers on the wind, pieced together fragmented legends, and stood where the veil between our reality and another is at its thinnest. This isn't about chasing ghosts with gadgets or proving a point. This is Echoes of the Unseen, a journey into the heart of landscapes that remember, places that hold the spectral imprints of what came before. We will uncover the truth behind the stories your grandparents told in hushed tones and explore my own encounters with the profoundly unexplained. Are you ready to listen? A teaser montage flashes on screen, a fleeting dark shadow darting between cypress trees in a swamp. Alistair gasping as he touches an ancient oak tree, a disorienting, echoing whisper swirling from a deep canyon abyss. Scene. Alistair stands at the edge of a vast, murky swamp. Spanish moss hangs like grey beards from gnarled cypress trees. The air is heavy and still. We begin our journey here at the Shadowbrook Swamps. For over 2 centuries, local folklore has painted these black waters not just as a treacherous marsh, but as a liminal space, a gateway where the spirits of the lost are said to linger. The Choctaw, who first lived here, spoke of water spirits, and later, settlers told tales of spectral lights belonging to those swallowed by the bog. They say if you listen closely at twilight, you can still hear them. A drone shot glides over the winding, mysterious swamp, revealing its immense, isolating scale. The camera then moves to ground level, focusing on the murky, reflective water and the twisted, ancient cypress trees. Alistair points toward a spot where gas bubbles rise to the surface. Science offers explanations, of course. That could be marsh gas, a natural phenomenon. The strange cries we hear could be a bittern or a heron. But the legends persist because the feeling here is undeniable. These natural occurrences simply provide a canvas for a much deeper, more unsettling truth. The land itself feels ancient and watchful. Alistair navigates to a secluded, particularly dense part of the swamp, where the canopy blocks out most of the light. He stops and turns to the camera, his expression somber. Years ago, in a place much like this, I had an experience that solidified my path. I was documenting petroglyphs and became disoriented as dusk fell. The air grew unnaturally cold, a biting chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. And then I heard it. Not a bird, not an animal, but a faint, melancholic melody, like a music box playing just at the edge of hearing. There was no one for miles. It was a sound that didn't belong, an echo of something that was no longer there, yet profoundly present. As he speaks, the visuals subtly reinforce his story. Animated motes of light drift through the air. The reflection in the water momentarily distorts into an unfamiliar shape. The edges of the frame warp slightly, creating a sense of unease. That feeling never leaves you. The swamp doesn't just hold water, it holds memories, energies that have seeped into the very soil. You can feel the weight of countless seasons, of lives lived and lost, pressing in from all sides. It's a pervasive sense that you are not, and have never been, truly alone here. Transition. A montage of a dusty car driving down a long, rural road, ending with a shot of a clearing dominated by colossal, ancient oak trees. Our next location carries a different kind of energy. This is the Cursed Oak Grove. Local history is fractured, but the fragments all point to a place of intense spiritual activity. Some tales speak of ancient pagan rituals performed under these branches, while others whisper of a forbidden gathering of witches in the 1700s, which ended in a tragic, violent confrontation. Whatever the truth, the story is one of powerful emotions soaked into the land itself. Wide shots show the massive oak trees, their branches intertwining to form a natural, cathedral-like canopy. The camera pans slowly, exploring the gnarled, moss-covered bases of the trees, highlighting strange patterns in the bark that almost resemble faint, weathered carvings. Look at the sheer age of these giants. They were silent witnesses to whatever transpired here. You can see how they've grown together, creating a space that feels separate from the outside world. The air is different here, still, heavy. People report feeling watched, an unseen congregation still holding court. Alistair stands beneath the largest, most ancient-looking oak, placing a hand gently on its rough bark. His voice is low, almost a whisper. My first time in this grove, I wasn't seeking anything. I was simply observing the trees. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted. It was a dry, unnatural cold, accompanied by an overwhelming sense of dread, a primal fear that made the hair on my arms stand up. Then came the smell, a thick, cloying odor of damp earth and decay. Yet there was nothing on the ground to cause it. It was as if the tree itself was exhaling the memory of death. Animated effects are layered over the footage. Leaves on a windless day begin to rustle unnaturally. Faint, glowing sigils momentarily appear, etched into the bark before fading. For a split second, distorted, face-like patterns seem to emerge from the textures of the wood. A place like this develops a kind of spiritual memory. The intense emotions of the past, fear, devotion, anger, they don't just dissipate. They become part of the grove's essence, a whisper in the leaves, a cold spot in the air. The past isn't just a story here, it's a living presence. Transition, shots of rugged, mountainous terrain. The host's vehicle navigates a treacherous, narrow road carved into a hillside. Our final destination is perhaps the most imposing, the Devil's Canyon Forest. The name itself is a warning. This is a place of treacherous terrain, sudden myths and legends that speak of more than just getting lost. Locals tell stories of lost souls, hikers who vanished without a trace, and strange, disembodied echoes that call from the abyss. The camera captures the intimidating scale of the canyons, with jagged rock faces and sheer drops. Dark, dense coniferous trees cling to the slopes. Alistair points out a narrow trail that disappears into the shadows. The geography here is a character in the story. It's easy to get disoriented, for sound to play tricks on you. Official reports will cite exposure or misadventure for the disappearances, but the folklore suggests something else. Something that actively lures you, confuses you, and pulls you into the canyon's depths. Alistair stands at the very edge of a deep, mist-filled canyon. The wind whistles eerily. His expression is one of profound respect for the location's power. I was here once, charting old mining trails, when the world seemed to tilt. The path ahead of me seemed to shift, and a profound sense of disorientation washed over me. It was more than just being lost. And then, carried on the wind from the depths of the canyon, I heard a voice. It was faint but clear. It was my own name. It was followed by what sounded like a distant scream, an echo of pure terror that was swallowed by the abyss as quickly as it appeared. As he speaks, the visuals become subtly surreal. Ethereal glows pulse softly within the mist below. A shadow on a rock face seems to move independently of any object. The visual perspective of the canyon's depths subtly distorts, making it seem deeper and more menacing. You stand at an edge like this, and you have to wonder, is it just the wind, or is it an echo of a final moment, trapped in a timeless loop? What truly lurks in the heart of the Devil's Canyon, calling out to those who wander too close to the edge? Scene. Alistair is back in his study, the warm lamplight contrasting with the dark memories of the locations. He looks directly at the camera, a thoughtful expression on his face. A swamp that remembers, a grove that mourns, a canyon that calls. These are not just isolated incidents. They are fragments of a larger, unseen world that exists alongside our own. A world that we can sometimes feel, hear, and touch. The experiences we've explored tonight are just the beginning. Whispers from the edge of understanding. No quick, intriguing flashes of future locations appear. A crumbling coastal fortress at sunset, a desolate abandoned asylum, a windswept moor under a stormy sky. There are countless other places, each with its own story, its own echo waiting to be heard. Join me next time as we continue our journey, seeking out the spectral imprints left behind on our world. Final shot. Alistair looks away from the camera, his gaze distant and contemplative, as if listening for something far away. The forest breathes. It holds memories older than any stone, secrets whispered on the wind long before our time. We see its beauty, but we often ignore its darkness. For centuries, these wild places have been the backdrop for tales of the unexplained, of spirits tethered to the land. I'm Dr. Alistair Finch, a folklorist, and I've spent my life chasing the echoes of these stories, seeking to understand why some landscapes never truly let go of their past. Today, we venture into the heart of these legends, into the woods that are said to remember, to watch, and to wait. Our journey begins on a path few dare to tread, the Whispering Pines Trail. This isn't just a collection of trees, it's a cathedral of giants, so tall and dense they seem to swallow the sky. The air here is different, heavy, still and charged with an unseen energy. Local legend speaks of this trail as a place where the veil between worlds is thin, where the rustling of leaves is not always caused by the wind. These unusual formations, like that cluster of impossibly twisted pines over there, are said to be markers, points where the forest's memory is strongest. As we push deeper, the familiar crunch of pine needles underfoot is the only sound that grounds us in reality. I remember a night years ago, not far from a place just like this. I was alone, cataloging local flora for a study, when an overwhelming sensation washed over me. It was a primal, unshakable feeling of being watched, not by an animal, but by something intelligent, something ancient. The wind picked up, but the whispers it carried weren't random. They seemed to form words just at the edge of hearing, a language I couldn't comprehend, yet felt I was meant to understand. The shadows around me seemed to deepen, to shift and coalesce in my peripheral vision, forming figures that would vanish the moment I turned to face them. It was a chilling, profound experience that solidified my quest. A moment where the academic became deeply personal. The forest had spoken to me, and I've been listening ever since. From the living woods, we now journey to a place of decay, where human ambition has crumbled back into nature's grasp. The ruins of the old Blackwood Mill, nestled beside a dark, sluggish river, these stone walls and rusted gears are a monument to a forgotten tragedy. The official history tells of a prosperous lumber mill that powered this region for nearly a century, but the local stories speak of something else entirely. They talk of a brutal foreman, of accidents that were too frequent to be coincidental, and of men who simply vanished, swallowed by the mill's insatiable hunger for timber, and perhaps for life. The mill was abandoned overnight after its owner disappeared without a trace, leaving everything to be consumed by time and shadow. Exploring these ruins is like walking through a tomb. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. In here, within these collapsed chambers and dark, flooded cellars, the weight of the past is suffocating. During an investigation a decade ago, my team and I were setting up equipment in what used to be the main gear room. We were the only ones for miles, yet we all heard it. A clear, sharp sound, like a heavy wrench being dropped onto the stone floor in the room directly above us. We rushed up to find nothing but dust and cobwebs. Later that night, as I reviewed our audio recordings, I captured something else. A faint, disembodied voice. A single, mournful word that sounded like, "Get out." It was a direct communication from a place that should have been silent, a chilling confirmation that the mill's history is not just written in books, but is etched into its very stones. Our final stop takes us to a place of eternal rest, or so it is supposed to be. The Morning Glade Cemetery is not a place you find by accident. It's an island of stone and sorrow hidden deep within the woods. Its wrought iron fence broken and its tombstones leaning like tired old men. Mist clings to the ground here, even on the clearest of days, lending the glade an ethereal, somber beauty. Many of the names on these markers are lost to time, their inscriptions eroded by a century of wind and rain. Yet the stories tied to them persist. They speak of restless spirits, of a woman who eternally searches for her lost child among the graves, and of a groundskeeper whose lantern can still be seen bobbing between the trees on moonless nights. There is one grave, set apart from the others under the boughs of an ancient oak, that has always held a particular power over me. It belongs to a young man named Elias, who, according to local lore, took his own life in these very woods over a love he could not have. While documenting the epitaphs here one autumn evening, I paused by his grave. Suddenly, the air grew unnaturally cold, a pocket of winter in the mild evening. The scent of rain-soaked earth was abruptly replaced by the distinct, sweet fragrance of night-blooming jasmine, a flower that does not grow anywhere in this region. It was a fleeting sensory imposition on reality. A moment so profound and out of place that it felt like a gentle, sorrowful acknowledgement from Elias himself. There was no fear, only a deep, inexplicable sadness that lingered long after the scent and the chill had faded. So, what do we make of these experiences? The whispers in the pines, the voice in the ruins, the phantom scent among the tombstones. Science demands proof, data, and repeatable phenomena. But the forest does not operate on our terms. These legends endure not as simple ghost stories, but as a fundamental part of the human experience, a recognition that there are mysteries woven into the fabric of our world that defy easy explanation. My journey has taught me that we are not the only keepers of history. The land itself remembers. As I stand here, on the edge of the encroaching dark, I am certain of one thing. Some secrets are not meant to be solved, but to be respected. The woods are watching, and they will keep their secrets long after we are gone.